Y'all, man. Y'all know who this is, but Mickal. Now, so today, man, we get how this Asian gang became the most brutal in America. Let's get into it.
Some victims suffered life-altering injuries, and the entire community was traumatized by these crimes.
October 29th, 2019, and first responders have no idea of the horrors they are about to witness. The dead and injured litter the backyard of a home that had just been the scene of one of the worst gang-related mass shootings California has ever seen.
Witnesses say they heard around 20 shots in all, and police say the suspect opened fire at a Halloween party at the home.
The victims have been at a costume party when all of a sudden, a group of gunmen appeared and began the onslaught. The terrified partygoers tried to escape, but were met with a rain of bullets. When police investigated...
That's the one thing is you go to a party, you don't know what's going to happen, bro. You go to a party, you don't know what's going to happen, man. People shooting it up, this and that, and then sometimes people in there really be civilians. They can't do nothing. There's bullets flying through, you can't do nothing. This is why every time I get invited to parties, I usually do not go because you don't know what's going to happen at the parties, bro. You don't know, bro. You don't know.
They find those responsibles are members of the infamous Tiny Rascal Gang, and the hunt to find the shooters was on.
In the early hours of September 2nd, we began a multiple-day operation to bring those responsible for this horrific crime to justice.
But who are these Tiny Rascals, and how did they get to become one of the most feared gangs in California? Well, their history will leave you completely horrified. Back in the 1970s, the people of Cambodia were desperate to escape their tyrannical government. The United States came to the rescue and began allowing refugees to settle and offering a new start and a new life. Like many refugees, they came from a country full of mistrust and paranoia of the government and the authorities. Their basic grasp of English, lack of knowledge around local culture and society, and poor living conditions created a barrier between the Cambodians and the locals. The refugees mainly populated the east side of Long Beach.
Wait, so they came all the way to... That's crazy. So they by Downey and Lakewood and Norwalk. They're in that area. Okay. Damn.
An area already infamous for several gangs, including the Rolling 20s, Sons of Samoa, the Baby Insane Crips, and the baddest of all, the Longos. The Cambodian teenagers, some as young as 14, began hanging around on the streets together, and they were getting noticed. It's believed a Cambodian youth was attacked by a Mexican gang member, and with that, the Tiny Rascals began their inception. Gangs of Cambodian refugees began to form in order to protect their own from discrimination and violence, eventually becoming the TRG we know today, with their choice of gang color, gray. It did not take them long to rack up a long list of crimes, including extortion, murder.
See, I really feel like sometimes when they form these groups, it's like to protect themselves, really. Protect themselves, protect their neighborhood. That's what I feel like. And then he said, what, a Mexican gang leader or person, whatever it is, attacked the youth. So I feel like they're trying to protect themselves, the youth, and the people. That's how I really feel like some of these crews or gangs, whatever you want to call them, I feel like some of them be formed to protect themselves, protect their group, you know what I'm saying?
Kidnapping, robbery, burglary, home invasion, and narcotic and weapons trafficking. But with so many gangs roaming the streets, it was only a matter of time before confrontations began and slowly became more deadly. The violence escalated, leading to one of the bloodiest nights in the history of Long Beach.
So I can't imagine why anyone would want to hurt any of those people. Whoever was responsible of this should have to face the consequences.
It all started with the first shooting 20 years earlier on another deadly Halloween night.
What?
October 31st, 1989. A bunch of East Side Longos were hanging out on a Long Beach street, unaware of the danger lurking. Just down the street, a car full of TRG members were approaching, and they were heavily armed. The TRG opened fire and brutally
So what was the first thing when they started beefing with them now? Was it because the person attacked the youth? Like, it's bro.
Downed a gang member by the
20 years before and then 20 years later, Nah, that's
name of
insane.
Oswaldo, killing him instantly. He was only 16 years old. Until this
Damn.
point, the rivalry between the two had been all showmanship and hand-to-hand fighting. But now, the streets of Long Beach would become a violent battleground.
Silverado Park here in Long Beach was the scene of a triple shooting this afternoon. Possible gang violence. Homicide and gang detectives have been out here for several hours as the investigation continues.
Carloads of gangs would patrol the streets, all armed, all ready to kill, leaving the East Side residences living in a real-life nightmare of fear.
Say the victims were on the basketball court when a car drove by and gunfire erupted. Police say there was actually an exchange of gunfire between an occupant or occupants of the vehicle and someone in the park.
The Longos have been separated into the East and West Side, and the three gangs all feuded with each other. To gain the upper hand, the West Side Longos and the East Side Longos put their differences aside and teamed up to take control of the streets. Outnumbered and outgunned, the TRG would turn to another rival gang and make a deal they could not refuse. With a chance to share huge areas of the East Side, the Asian boys agreed to join forces with the TRG as the two put aside past feuds. Then, unexpectedly,
they
were
put the Asian. Oh, damn.
approached by the
Asian boys and TR. Oh my god.
insane Crips, and suddenly the odds were starting to look more in the TRG's favor. It's believed over 55 drive-by shootings occurred in the first 18 months of the gang war, and a total of 10 people were shot dead. They would open fire on motorists, cyclists, pedestrians, and through the doors and windows of homes, killing or wounding gang members, their relatives, and even innocent passerbys. The Longos knew they were heavily outnumbered with the three combined rivals, but the TRG and the Asian boys had the advantage when it came to firepower.
You got anything illegal in your house?
No.
Okay. Just make sure everything's cool. Anyone else home besides the two of you guys today? You got no drugs or guns or nothing like that? Good. I'm glad to see that.
Both gangs had connections to their countries of origin and were able to smuggle large shipments of powerful weaponry to take on the Longos, including military C4 explosives and grenades. These weapons would cost a lot of money, and to raise it, the TRG and their affiliates began a crime wave that left the streets gripped with fear and helped to cement the TRG as one of the most sick and twisted gangs roaming the streets of the United States.
Nobody know the gunman. He wear the mask. Nobody know.
August 10th.
Yeah, you think nobody knows, but somebody knows. Come on now, the streets talk. Somebody knows. Somebody knows, bro.
10th,
Somebody knows.
1995, and a home invasion turns into a massacre when TRG members open fire on the Nguyen family inside. After ransacking the house, it's reported they executed the father, son Nguyen, his wife, and 4 of his children one by one. Miraculously, a 3-year-old survived the ordeal, but even he was shot by the gang, showing the true brutality of their very nature.
Nah, hell no, that's not good. You shooting at some kids now? Y'all niggas shooting kids now, bro? Killing the whole
Detectives continued to trace the route taken by the 3 vehicles believed to be involved in this shooting.
Other break-ins resulted in a mother killed while her baby was in the other room, and a mother raped and robbed in her home. They thought they had...
Bro, what? Killing the mom, the kids in the other room, then you grape. You did that to her. That I just don't get it, man.
had killed her, but as they strangled her, she played dead in a horrifying and unthinkable ordeal. Other victims of their home invasions were strangled with phone cords and shot in the chest or even in the face at close range. Although it's not clear how the relationship between the TRG and the Asian boys began to deteriorate, we do know by the year 2000, the Asian boys had broken away and changed their gang color from gray to blue. But instead of going it alone, they had joined up the Crip family and the Baby Insanes. This caused a huge tension in the local community, and the former refugees of Long Beach began moving away to much safer areas. And with that, the TRG began began to spread further across the state. Although no gang would have the impact of the original crew, they did have a very useful purpose for each other, as they would work together to try and thwart police investigations, or at least make their work harder.
We're going to go do a probation search on some known TRG gang members who are also on what's
See, and then police, but I don't know how police do this, bro. I don't know how they do it. Going into neighborhoods like this, bro, and they know, like, then people do not like cops at all, because you don't know what's going to happen, bro. Like,
it's known as searchable probation. They're validated TRG gang members. They're on probation in lieu of being incarcerated. We're going to go and do a compliance check.
In 2001, the TRG and Asian boys began a bloody battle after tensions rose between the two. To send a message to the TRG, the Asian boys would need a target, and they would find it in one of the few non-Cambodian members of the gang, Ruel Holbert, also known as Loki.
What?
While leaving a liquor store, Loki was gunned down by the Asian boys in a savage drive-by shooting. Miraculously, Loki survived, but he wanted revenge. However, the other TRG gang members maintained they wanted to try and keep the peace, so Loki decided to become a one-man army and handle the problem himself. December 2003, and Loki meets up with an unsuspecting.
Why just said 2003 and 2019 at the? That's damn. He survived and they wanted.
Associate of the Asian boys, Daniel Chanta. When they met, he pulled out a gun and shot him at close range. Only 11 days later, on New Year's Eve, he found himself driving around Asian boys' territory, and he was out looking for trouble. When he spotted high-ranking member Wood T. Bong Thong, he opened fire and claimed his second victim of his revenge spree.
What? Damn.
His bloodlust not satisfied, he then went out the very next day. His third victim, Sakwarn Fan. He was shot dead as he sat in his car. Loki was caught 4 days later at another shooting and was eventually incarcerated for life. The violence would continue for over a...
That's crazy, because he probably didn't have nothing to do. I don't know. We never know, man.
The incident in
don't
October
know.
2019 was by far the most deadly and shocking to ever happen.
We acknowledge that none of this makes sense, so I want to clarify a potential motive. This is an extremely complex and detailed case, and we now know that this was a pre-planned attack on what the suspects incorrectly believed to be a party of rival gang members.
Surveillance footage from a gas station caught 3 SUVs gathering and then driving off in the direction of a house that was throwing a Halloween-themed birthday party. At that party was Timmy.
How'd they know that the birthday party? Like, I mean, how'd they know the Halloween birthday thing, whatever it's called? Was that like? Did somebody drop the low or something?
Ngoy, and he was a friend of a TRG member, Jeremy Fenn, who had declined an invitation to attend. As everyone partied in the backyard, Fenn called his friend Ngoy twice. First, he mysteriously asked him to get inside the house. Then, after Ngoy ushered all the partygoers inside, Fenn called back and confronted him about it, before suddenly hanging up the phone.
Long Beach police arrested 12 people in connection with a mass shooting at a Halloween party last year.
Things got even more concerning after the party returned outside, when the party host, Daniel Chan, also asked them to go back inside the house. What could possibly cause such unusual behavior? The answer was in a video circulating online, and in it was the host of the party. And that was the reason why Fenn had decided not to show. In the video, Chan is seen to be disrespecting the TRG, and maybe deep down, Fenn knew what might be coming.
What? Is that why he told him to go back inside?
It can only be assumed it was Fenn who called Chan, telling him to gather everyone inside. Once again, the party found itself in the backyard, but within minutes, the partying scene would become a gruesome crime scene.
One man who lives nearby was walking home when he says he saw a white van that was circling and then heard gunfire.
The 3 SUVs that had been seen on surveillance earlier in the night pulled up, and the nightmare began.
Maurice Poe Jr., a 25-year-old from the city of Long Beach, Ricardo Torres, a 28-year-old resident of the city of Inglewood, and Melvin Williams II, a 35-year-old from the city of Gardena. I ask that you please keep their families in your thoughts and prayers.
As well as the tragic deaths of 3 innocent victims, there were also 9 with injuries.
I told you, bro. There can be innocent victims that...
Those injuries would prove life-threatening for one partygoer.
The bullet hit me in my neck, and it went through my body, and it came out the opposite side of my back, and that's how my spinal cord became damaged.
It would not take long to find those involved, and 7 were arrested and charged with the massacre.
I am here to announce the arrest of 12 suspects involved in the tragic shooting of October 29th last year. 2 of the 12 suspects are already in custody on unrelated charges. That night, we lost 3 victims.
They wait trial and are currently where they belong, locked up with no chance of bail. The tiny rascals continue to prey on Long Beach, California, their fearsome reputation solidified in the history of gang warfare across the United States. As heartbreaking and tragic as these cases are, it should be noted that these kinds of all-out street wars are very rare, and with the help of police like those in California, those who chose the gang life may face the most severe of punishment, even the death penalty.
That is true, though. That is true.
What do you think about the...
That is true. Let me know what you think down below about this video. Let me know. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video, man. We out, man.